What's up, y'all? This is Ty. Happy Sunday. I am here to review Season 2, Episode 7 of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. And tonight's episode is titled No Love Lost. But before I do that, before I get into this episode, I got to give a shout out to all my lovely subscribers that hold me down in the comment section. I'm talking about folks like Lamont Simpson, Simply Be Yourself 100, Savannah Rivers, Quentin Baptiste, The R.C. Kroger, Jake U, Dominique, welcome Dominique, and June BOC, Atif Penny. You guys hold me down in the comment section. You're keeping this channel going and growing, so I had to give y'all a shout out. We got the shout outs out the way. Let's get right down to this review of episode 7, No Love Lost. Now listen, I like how the episode starts off. Let's focus on Jukebox a little bit. I like how the episode starts off with Jukebox, right? She's at the gravesite, and at first I was like, who's she going to visit? But I forgot. Remember her girlfriend Nicole from last season that took the bad crap? Her. She's at her gravesite. And I like that scene because Nicoles Father comes up, and he's not mad with Jukebox. And they have a really decent conversation. He tells her he understood. He's happy that his daughter was able to find love. And he also mentions that he and his wife are divorcing because they just don't see eye to eye. And he was going to wait till when Nicole left for college. But he's like, now with her gone, I can do what I got to do, And so I thought that was very refreshing. I like that. And it kind of gave some closure to Nicole to know, not to Nicole, to Jukebox, about how Nicole's dad felt about her. And then he also mentioned to her, he said, oh, whatever happened to that video, that VCR recording that y'all had, that videotape of you and her singing? And she played off like, I don't know. But we know that, she took that tape. So we see later in the episode, we see that Jukebox has taken the recording, the VCR tape, and I ain't seen the VCR tape in a long time. I have some around here somewhere. But she took the VCR tape and had it repaired, and she dropped it off to him. That was really nice. But she's had some good things tonight going on with her. We had Jukebox at church. She's hearing the lecture about, basically being gay is a sin and this, that, and the third and all that. And I'm wondering if that had an influence on her actually deciding to go out on a date with the young man who's been trying to court her or whatever. And she even takes his phone number down and all of that. And before she goes on that date, she has an interesting conversation with Marvin. And Marvin tells her, when were you going to tell me about your mother? And she said, I wasn't. He said, listen, she ain't your mother. She's just a woman that gave birth to you and left both of us. And she said to him, Jukebox said to Marvin, she said, well, did you do any better? He said, listen, I know I messed up, but the point is I stayed. I made some mistakes, but I stayed. I raised you. And he does have a point with that. I didn't run off. He didn't run off to try to get a music career popping, and not look for you. He did stay and raise you, Jukebox. So he does have a point with that. I do like that he said that. And so he said, listen, Kenya's for herself. She ain't about you. She's for herself. So he's basically telling her, this lady gonna break your heart. And I'm interested to see how all of that is gonna play out, with her mom, how that's gonna play out. But what y'all seen Jukebox tonight? Jukebox got a kiss from a boy, and she seemed to have liked it. Seemed like she liked it. That relationship, we're gonna see how far that goes. Now let's move on down to the drama with poor Lulu. Lulu just cannot catch a break, can he? Now, we seen last week he done killed little Albie Shore, Crown. So he killed him. But guess what? He has to take on Crown's debts because it seemed like there's some Jamaicans, man. I do a terrible Jamaican accent, y'all. Don't ask me to do. But the two guys coming in, said, let me tell you, man. Okay, that's enough because my accent is terrible with that. He said, listen, where's Crown at? Basically, he said, listen, Crown owe us some money. Now you owe us money. Because, he borrowed $50,000 from whoever this guy is. There's so many tough guys in these towns. He's like, and you better give me that money, basically. So now Lou has to come up with this money. And then we see, him going to Cartier to make a deal with him. And in order for him to make that deal, Cartier's like, listen, you need my help. Because you see, these Jamaicans, they done rough Lulu up. Came out, came in the alley where he parked his car. He bust the light out in the back of his car. And he went to reach for his gun. He didn't know there was a guy behind him. They knocked the gun out of his hand, knocked him down, stomped him to remind him, you better have our money. So now Lou is partnering up with Cartier, who I do not like. I do not like. That means that's good acting because I can't stand that character. He's really getting on my nerves. And now he's partnering with Lou. And he said, listen, I need to be half owner of this record label. And I was like, okay, interesting. But now let's get down to this thing here. This mess with Corinne and Kanan. Corinne's mama. Kanan goes to return the gun to Corinne's mother. And as I suspected, I said, I think this woman likes him. And I was correct. She fine too, y'all. She is fine too. But she don't have no business sleeping with no teenager. But she ends up having sex with Kanan. And then the crazy part, Corinne walks in and catches them. And that don't stop her. She's like, hey, whatever. She don't care that her daughter got mad. So I'm like, she must do this all the time. The daughter threw something. She's like, listen, she got to learn. This is how she learns and go with the moment, Kanan. That was crazy to me. She fine, though. But that was crazy to me. I said, you know what? These people are trifling on this show, like completely trifling. Let's go on back to Cartier and Rock. Like I said, I don't like Cartier. I don't like him at all. I can't stand his character. But he's tied into a few things. So he's showing off. He's trying to impress Rock because, he got all these deals in other states and all this. He introduces her to someone, this guy, and they have a few words. And Rock kind of instigates him. Was like, well, if you own him and the way he talking to you, I don't know. And she said to him, he seemed insubordinate. So, of course, Cartier had to handle that ass. And then we see Rock still trying to make a deal with the dude. Afterwards, she's like, yeah, you should come work with me. I can get you a better deal, this, that, and the third. So it's all this underhanded deal making going on tonight. Lots of underhanded slipping and sliding deal making. This one working with that one, this one working with that one. A lot of that going on. And so that guy says, well, I don't really know you like that, Rock. And then we see him spying on her. So just a whole lot going on. Meanwhile, Symphony's had a lunch with Kanan, and then he gets stopped by Detective Burke, who is really getting deep into this and being annoying. And he gets stopped, and she's questioning him. This makes Symphony go to Rock and tell her, and he also tells Rock that he's leaving town and all this other stuff. And, that's really interesting right there. And the way this episode ended, we're going to go back to that. So Symphony pretty much, he's very loyal to her. But, Rock trusts no one. Rock is crazy. That's just completely crazy. And let's talk about Neek and Worrell for a minute. Neek knows that Rock don't trust him. And he's like, that's why, she got us out here. She got us. She don't trust us. We're going to have to build out here in Jersey. And while they're having that conversation, the Italians come over and ask a question about Marvin. Now, remember, Marvin was talking to the Italians before, and it was some job he wanted them to do. And they said, how legit is Marvin? He said, legit, Marvin pays his debts. He'll pay him. So that brings us to the Italians doing this job for Marvin, and that is to kill Tony. So they go over to Tony's house. I think she's in Westchester, wherever she lives. And what should be an easy job, they come in there. Tony's with her now husband. I think the dentist is her husband now. They're having sex or whatever. He goes to the bathroom, whatever. She goes to do some coke. She looks up. She gets shot up. As she's being shot, the guy comes back in the room. He tussles with the Italian, and this is that mobster's son, I believe. And they're tussling, and it looks like one of the guys actually shoots the Italian by mistake, and now then the dentist gets hold of the gun. He starts shooting, so that guy flees. So this is gonna be complicated. I think the Italian, the mobster dude, is dead. I think he's dead. So that's gonna be a mess for next week. That's going to be a mess in next week's episode. That's really going to be a mess in next week's episode. Interesting. And how are they going to figure this all out, and how will it tie into Marvin, And Neek knows about it. So that's going to be interesting. Speaking of Marvin, Marvin has passed his the group, the anger management group. He's made it through, and him and the guy who he was eventually going to fight a few episodes back, they're cool now. But did y'all peep? And I peeped this. I knew it. That counselor, she feeling Marvin. Why she slipping her number? Like, I like to keep in touch with you. Here's my card. I'm like, that's going to be something right there. That's definitely going to be something right there. Very interesting right there. Interesting show tonight. Now, we have this conversation between Detective Howard and Raquel. She tells him, listen, your little partner is digging. You need to handle that. She's doing this, that, and the third. He tells her, he says, listen, your boyfriend, he might be a problem. You might have to handle that. And she's like, he's good or whatever. She came to him and all that. And he said, oh, by the way, Scrap was not a snitch. And that kind of bothered him. Like, why did you told me he was. He said, no, I made a mistake. And he said, what are you going to do when Kanan catches up to the mistakes and the lies you've been making? And I was like, wow, that was a good point that he said to her. Very good point. And then this is what pissed me off with Rock tonight. It's really pissed me off. At the end of this episode tonight, she was about to, I started yelling at the screen, y'all. She was about to kill Symphony. Symphony is loyal to this woman. Symphony took your son out of town for you, protected you, and she was about to kill. I said, yo, when she drove it, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. But I said, damn, this woman is really cold. She was really about to take Symphony out. He ain't telling nothing. He's leaving town. But, you can't trust nobody these days. So she's like, listen, nah, she was about to take him out. And that's how that episode ended. And that really pissed me off. That pissed me off. Burke is pissing me off, too, because she's doing too much snooping. And I agree with her girlfriend who told her, listen, you need to lay back because now you're investigating the cop and nobody likes internal affairs. Nobody likes that. And did y'all see when Burke was having that conversation with the other cop, that other one was listening? He was ear hustling. He was listening like, what's going on? He going to tell Howard about that too. So real interesting stuff tonight. I thought it was a really good episode. Lots of twists and turns, lots of behind the scenes, this one talking to that one. Nobody can trust anybody. That's how it goes. Tell me your thoughts. How did you feel about this episode? I enjoyed it. I'm enjoying this show. I can't wait for next week. I want to know what's going to happen with these Italians, how they're going to handle this thing with Marvin. And I really want to see how this thing with Jukebox is going to play out with her now having this boy. Is she, what's going to happen with that? It's going to be good. And what's going to happen with her mom? Like, how's Marvin going to handle that? This is really good. So that's it. That's all I have for now. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos. I did a review of Tyler Perry's latest movie, A Jazzman's Blues. Go check that out. And that's all I have for now. I will see you all when in the next video.